Good morning. Welcome to 2026. First edition of Coffee and Hymns. Got my coffee here. Not my favorite brew, but needed to use up the last of it, so I'm excited about the next set of beans that I've got, and I think it'll be a better brew. But that's life, that's coffee. Now, hymns. This is not a new hymn, right? Will You Come and Follow Me is certainly not a new hymn, but I'm just constantly surprised every time I take a new position at a new congregation or join a congregation for a gig or a temporary thing. They all have their repertoire, and so some of the things that I think are old hat or been there, done that, things like that, maybe brand new to them. And then things that they know really well might be brand new to me. That's just how it works, right? Because there's so many songs, and there's only so many songs that a congregation can have in their repertoire. So when you take a new position, or even I've been here 5 years, I'm still introducing new things to this congregation, partly because it's what I love to do. I think it's good for them. It's good to continue expanding the repertoire, updating the repertoire. But anyways, that's just kind of a constant thing we do, right? So the question is for today, how do we do that well? How do we introduce a new hymn, or at least a hymn that's new to a congregation? Let's put it that way. How do we do it in a way that sets them up for success? That reduces anxiety or fear of the new. John Thornburg often uses the term a new friend. We're going to meet a new friend today. Kind of setting people up with the expectation that this is an opportunity that's going to be positive, rather than a challenge that most likely will end up negative, right? Like, we're going to try this, don't do that. So I thought of this hymn, Will You Come and Follow Me, The Summons by John Bell, because there are some hymns that lend themselves quite well to a layering, right? And this is one of those hymns. One of the reasons this hymn works well that way is because it's 5 stanzas, so it's a little on the longer side with 5 stanzas. But also the text changes voices. In the first 4 stanzas, it's Jesus asking us questions. Will you come and follow me if you. And then in the last stanza, it switches voice where we're talking to Jesus. Lord, your summons echoes true when you but call my name. So in that way, it lends itself quite well. If this is the first time a congregation has heard the hymn, to start off, much like Tom did here at First Plymouth, Nebraska, with a solo or a very small ensemble or something like that. The first time I ever heard this hymn, it was just a guitarist and a solo voice in Iona Abbey, one of the more magical liturgical musical moments of my life. I just sat down in the Abbey for the very first time. I just gotten to the island and still hadn't been given my orientation as a volunteer. And the first thing I heard was just this beautiful voice from who I would come to know as a person named Simon, just playing guitar and singing, will you come and follow me? It was very magical. So I've always had a special place in my heart for this hymn. But anyways, it works really well as a solo. 1 stanza, 2 stanzas, whatever. Then utilizing the choir or a larger ensemble to do the next couple of stanzas. Tom had some sort of choral arrangement for the 4th stanza there, which was lovely, but I'd never heard before. And then the congregation comes in on 5. Now, another way to help set the congregation up for success is to invite them to hum stanzas 3 and 4, or just stanza 4, right? Just humming it while the choir sings or the solo sings or the ensemble sings the stanza allows them to hear themselves and any mistakes or troubles they might be having on that melody for the first time without the fear of like other people hearing them, right? So that humming really helps them become self-aware of are they matching the pitch? Are they getting all the intervals right and things like that without it being threatening? So when they are asked to sing for the first time on stanza 5, you know, if you feel more confident, you could even layer it in like, a left side, right side thing. Soloist does 1 and 2. The left side sings stanza 3. The right side sings stanza 4. And then we all sing stanza 5, something like that. That'd be another way to do it. So just a simple layering can be a really wonderful way to introduce a hymn. And a lot of hymns work well that way. One more thing I'll point out that I loved. Let me bring the video back up. You'll notice. So first of all, Tom turns his attention right here to the congregation to invite them in. Now, this congregation is very used to just following Tom, right? So they knew to cue in on Tom. So he didn't have to do big gestures or anything like that. Sometimes you might if they're not trained as well, or that culture isn't there, but his is. So he just simply needed to turn and acknowledge the congregation. Hey, it's your turn. Then I noticed, let's see if I can find it, right here. Boom. Look at that. You've got preacher, some assisting minister or some other type of leadership person over here on the right. So you got like the three leaders, all of the leaders who are up front, who are non-musical, quote unquote, are singing with the congregation when the congregation is supposed to sing. So very important. So if you're a pastor, clergy, leader of any kind up front, always join in with the congregation. Even if you're saving your, like, let's say you want to save your voice for the sermon because you're worried that it's going to like conk out or whatever, if you're not feeling good or whatever, mouth the words, right? Just make it look like you're singing at least so that it encourages the people. These are all wonderful things. So many good examples. Anywho, let's go to another example. I'm going to give you 3 different kind of ways to introduce a hymn. Of course, that's not all the different ways, but just 3 ways that I found to be very, very helpful. Let me pull up. Let's see. Light dawns on a weary world. One of my favorite hymns of all time. Written in the early 2000s. Text by Mel Bringle. Tune by William Rowan. I just, love the hymn. Super singable. I used it this past Sunday, which is one of the reasons it's fresh on my mind. You can use it in Advent. I used it, as we're approaching Epiphany, kind of moving out of Advent and Christmas and into like the stories of Jesus and the Lenten journey and things like that. And let me share the screen so you can see the words I'm talking about. So, light dawns on a weary world when eyes begin to see all people's dignity. Light dawns on a weary world. The promised day of justice comes. The trees shall clap their hands. The dry lands gush with springs. The hills and mountains shall break forth with singing. Then love grows in a weary world, and then hope blooms in a weary world. These are, light, love, hope. These are words we find in Advent. Right? Advent candles are associated with some of those words. And then we're moving into, Light of the World, Epiphany, Christmas. But the text that Mel wrote is the culmination of those words, right? When hope blooms, when love grows, when light dawns, then what happens, right? Which for me is the story of Jesus, right? So we're about to move into this time of Jesus doing the ministry, the earthly ministry, and then the work of salvation, and then, the beginnings of the church. So this is a wonderful transition text for me from the Advent and Christmas season into the next step. So how would I introduce this hymn? Let's say it's the congregation's first time. Our congregation had already sung it a couple of times, but it definitely wasn't like well known at all. And so I decided to go with, once again, John Thornburg, a wonderful song leader and mentor. he would often say, give them your best 3 sentences. Okay? So for this hymn, my 3 sentences would deal with the relevance of the hymn, something for them to listen for, and then how to practice it. Right? So I would give the relevance of the hymn. So my first sentence might be something like, friends, we're going to sing hymn number, whatever, Light Dawns in a Weary World, which is a wonderful text that uses words from Advent and Christmas, like hope and love and light. And the text writer brings us then into the culmination of when those words are enacted. So as we move into this new year, and as we begin to hear the stories of Jesus' ministry, this text helps us to celebrate what it means to move towards that shalom, that wholeness, when all things come back into God, right? So it's a beautiful text that I hope you enjoy. Second sentence, I would say, I want you to pay attention to, my organist is going to play this little line. During the refrain, it says, the trees shall clap their hands, the dry lands gush with springs, the hills and mountains shall break forth with singing. And when we sing with singing, you'll hear the organ go, do-do-do-do-do. And that's this lovely text painting. And so listen to that. So then you let the organist play that little line. Do-do-do-do-do. So it gives them an active listening thing. And it allows you to demonstrate, in that little explanation, it allows you to demonstrate a little bit of the refrain, right? And then you'll say, so before we begin singing, let's practice the refrain one time to make sure that when we sing this together, everyone will be able to join in on the refrain, regardless of whether you sing the verses with me or not. And then you practice the refrain. The trees shall clap their hands, the dry lands gush. Maybe just the melody played on the organ or piano or guitar, whatever you're using, and just sing the line real simple. Let people practice it, and then let's sing together. And then the intro begins. So 3 sentences. Relevance of the hymn. Why are we singing this? Second sentence, I like offering something for them to do. Even if they're not going to sing it, something for them to listen for or pay attention to. And then instructions on how and why we might practice, so they know exactly when and how they can participate, even if they can't do the whole song. So let's listen to that hymn. In case you've never heard it, definitely something you should have in your repertoire. Here's Light Dawns on a Weary World.
Day of justice come. once forlorn, find wilderness reborn. Hope blooms in a weary world, the promised green of Eden comes. The trees shall clap their hands, the dry lands gush with springs, the hills and mountains shall break forth with singing. We shall go out in joy and be led forth in peace, as all the world in wonder echoes shalom.
Great. Isn't that lovely hymn? I slowed it down a little bit. I think the tempo they took is too fast. But that's just me. Everyone's got their own tempo choices. But that second tempo after I slowed it down is kind of where I like it to sit. Yeah, but isn't that just a lovely hymn? Only 3 stanzas, but with a refrain, super singable, but also really interesting musically. And then the text is just perfect. So the last thing before we end our broadcast, I'll share one more song. This song is probably going to be new to most of you. I did highlight it once in a blog a couple years ago. It's from a group called Meek Squad, which is an intentional community centered around a guy by the last name of Meek, who has cerebral palsy. And they had this community building, and they worshiped together. And because he has cerebral palsy, it became very clear to them that there just weren't a lot of resources, songs, and things that worked well for them. And so they just started creating their own. As so many resource creating ideas and things come about, right? It's like, man, there is just nothing that works for us, so we'll just do our own and see what we can do. So it's this wonderful musical and worship group called Meek Squad. They're in Durham, North Carolina. And they have a song called I Am For You. And the reason I was thinking about this hymn is because my church currently uses the lectionary, but not the Revised Common, the narrative lectionary. Whew. I need more copy. That's what I need. Yeah, they use the narrative lectionary, and this year for Lent is all of the I am statements, because we're in the Gospel of John. So, I am the bread of life, I am the way, the truth, and life, I am. And so I thought of I am for you as, it's a great song that kind of connects into that. And another reason I thought about this hymn is that it's super easy to sing. Like, it's super singable, and it's lovely. And so I thought about another way to introduce new hymns that doesn't involve necessarily teaching it during worship or even before worship. Like, the way to introduce some hymns, the best way, is to do it not on Sunday morning. So that by the time you get to Sunday morning, people already have, a majority of your congregation already knows it, or at least has encountered it a couple times and understands its context and understands what it is. So an example of that would be at my church. I might use it for a devotional during staff meeting a couple weeks before. I just want to introduce you guys to this new hymn. It's lovely. Here's the context, and let's sing it together. And then just sing it, right? You could listen to a recording, sing along if you don't have guitar skills or whatever, or a keyboard in your staff meeting room or whatever. It could even be sung a cappella. Sing it with staff, right? Then, go to a Bible study the next week and say, hey, we're going to sing this next Sunday, and I just want to introduce it to you because I'm really excited about it. It's just a lovely song. I think you guys are going to love it. And then just sing it with them, right? Nice and easy, relaxed. Then make sure your choir knows it, right? Make sure you use it as a devotional or just incorporate it into your rehearsal time for your choir or whatever ensemble you have, praise band, whatever it is. Make sure they know it well. Always incorporate that. Any new congregational song repertoire, I'm going to introduce, I always do it with my choir, even if they're not going to sing it. You know, even if they're not singing that Sunday, a lot of them are going to be in the pews anyways, and they kind of become the section leaders, right? So always, if you have a choir or a praise band or whoever your musical leadership ensembles are, teach it to them. So that too. And then I might include it in a Facebook post for the church, and say, just share the video of it, right? And say, hey, we're going to be doing this hymn. It's great. Check it out. Listen to it a few times in the car or whatever, right? Or if you have a church Spotify playlist, or if you have a newsletter that goes out, incorporate it in the newsletter. Hey, check out this video. Great new song. We're going to sing it together. Even if you have a congregation of 100 people, even if 20 people click on that link and they listen to it 1 or 2 times, that's 20 people, right? That's a fifth of your congregation for the next Sunday that will come with a really good understanding of what's about to happen. And once again, they become your section leaders. So in that way, you don't have to do anything on Sunday morning other than say, friends, we're going to sing I Am For You. I know some of you, I see some Bible study folks. I see you staff members. I see you choir members. I hope you saw in the newsletter. It's lovely. And if you haven't sung it before and you're brand new, or maybe this is your first time in the church, I'm so glad you're here today, because this is a song we're going to sing together and you can learn it with us. And then you sing it, right? Pitch it real positive. Everyone's already prepped, or at least a large majority of people are prepped, and you're good to go. So those are just some ideas on how to introduce a new hymn so that it's a positive thing. You set your congregation up for success, right? So that the first time they sing it, they feel successful, which then increases the likelihood that they actually enjoy the hymn and they find meaning in it. So we'll listen to that at the end of our broadcast today. Thanks for joining us for this edition of Coffee and Hymns. I'll see you next month. And over the next few months, I'm going to have a couple of special guests joining me. I will announce who they are later. We've got an organist from the South, but now in the Midwest. We've got someone who might have appeared on a video already today joining us live. We've got a guitarist who is just really great at leading guitar. We've just got some good guests. Let me just say that. So tell your friends. We will see you next month. Here is I Am For You by Meek Squad.
I am the bread of life. When you're hungry, I will feed you. I am the bread of life. When you're hungry, I will fill you. I am for you. I am for you. I am for you. I am for you. I am the light of the world. In the darkness I am shining. I am the light of the world. In the darkness I will lead you. I am for you. I am for you. I am for you. I am for you. I am the shepherd. From your fears I will protect you. I am the good shepherd. When you want